Yeah, I think for all of those reasons, that's why it says more to me about the Minnesota Timberwolves than it does with the Utah Jazz, which is a team that's clearly headed towards a rebuild. And what Wendy was pointing out, this was their most successful season in 18 years. They had a drought up there, so of course they want to maximize Karl Anthony Towns' impact going forward by pairing him with another defensive big to allow him to do what he does best. And of course, there are some question marks with Rudy Gobert, terrific regular season player. The Utah Jazz have laid some clunkers in the postseason, so I understand it from that perspective. But the Minnesota Timberwolves looked at their roster, looked at the way that it's currently constructed after they made the postseason this year, and were able to assess some of the areas that were, deficient for them. And they realized they need a rim protector and they need rebounding. So they get that in Rudy Gobert. And I know some people in the age of the wing scorer probably look at this and say, well, that front court pairing is a little strange, but it addresses a huge need for them and then allows them, I think, in a lot of ways to cover up some of their other weaknesses. Anthony Edwards is a terrific player too. Like Wendy was saying, and I was in Minnesota for 5 seasons, so I got to see where he was from a rookie to where he is right now.
Georgia boy.
He is absolutely incredible, and I am very excited to see where this Timberwolves team is headed in the West.
Yeah, I think management looked at this team, especially after making the playoffs, losing to Memphis, and said, you know what, how can we get better? Rim protecting is something they definitely needed. D'Angelo Russell, he's not the best at guarding on ball, being an on-ball defender. I want to touch on him a little bit. Now when you look at a guy like D'Angelo Russell, because did he make strides in the regular season? Yes, he did. But when it came to playoff basketball, when you've seen the Minnesota Timberwolves up by a ton of points and blowing leads, I'm going to put some of that on him. Why? Because he's the point guard. And in certain situations of playoff games, you have to understand when to slow the basketball down, who to get the basketball to in certain key moments, and kind of control things a little bit more versus being erratic and all over the place. Now, I do believe this makes them a contender to make some noise in the West. That's one reason why you actually love this trade, because Rudy Gobert, now, I'm concerned about floor spacing. I'm concerned about floor spacing, and if I'm playing the Golden State Warriors, I'm worried about Cat and Rudy Gobert being forced in pick and rolls and being picked on. I'm worried about both of those guys. When you play teams like the Warriors, they're going to put you in a pick and roll, and they're going to exploit those matchups. And even if you play teams like the Memphis Grizzlies and Ja Morant, I'm going to put Rudy Gobert in that pick and roll and see can he defend and stop Ja Morant going to the basket.
One of the reasons why they were, I think, willing to do this deal and include those draft picks is that they didn't touch any of their core players. Malik Beasley plays somewhat of a role for them, but for the most, and I know Patrick Beverley is a sort of an inspirational leader, but in terms of their core players, they were able to retain all of them while adding a Defensive Player of the Year All-Star guy. And so it wouldn't surprise me if there's another deal that could happen down the line. D'Angelo Russell has been floated in trade discussions over the last year. And so Chris Finch, their head coach, has done a terrific job molding this roster. So I think the Wolves will see how this group plays together, but they may not be done. Maybe done this offseason. They've had a very active time. But this may not be the complete way that they did it. And by keeping Russell out of a deal, they were looking at all kinds of different center options. They were kicking the tires on DeAndre Ayton. They were talking to the Pacers about Miles Turner. And those types of deals might have cost them Russell. He's still there. So he either meshes with this group, or if not, I think there's some interest in him out there as well that they could make another move with this roster down the line.
All right, quick take, Courtney.
This is a team that with Tim Connolly, who just got hired, Chris Finch has been there not that long, that they've got a roster that's constructed for the long haul, but they're viewing this as they want to make a move right now. They want to make a splash right now. This is a team that was 22nd in field goal percentage at the rim last year, opposing field goal percentage at the rim last year. There were a lot of defensive deficiencies, and they went all in for Rudy Gobert. I know that it's a big cost and a hefty one at that, sending 4 draft picks to Utah, but the urgency is very clearly now because they see what's happening, around them in the West, and they can't afford to, drop back any further after having their best season in nearly 2 decades.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming, sports, and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.